Whoa, it's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I'm in a parking lot picking up Owl. We actually took Owl to the doctor today. He might have strep throat or something. Every now and then you got to go see the voodoo man just to make sure you're not blowing it completely. You know what I mean? We definitely steer clear of doctors, but every now and then you do need to go check in. Actually, I have a bit of a flu or something, so I was thinking about, I did a live stream this morning, but I was talking about how grateful I am to be sick today versus tomorrow, right? And this is where I'm coming at is, we're moving into 2020, and 2019 was a pretty tough year for myself and for a lot of people, and I think it's good to end this year sick, because that means I'm kind of like, it's like the detox, getting the final dark energy out of my spacesuit so that I can vibrate at the highest frequency possible for 2020. I haven't really figured out what I'm going to call 2020 yet. I'm working on it, but I have full positive vibes about this coming year. It's going to be a big year. I'm going to put some resolutions down and kind of launch into that. But I really feel like 2020 is going to be the year that we make big progress, not only in my own personal space, but in my family, and also as the spaceship, as population as a whole. I think that we've come to realize a lot of, over the last year, I came to terms with a lot of my own dark realities, my own fears. And in that, I've ultimately realized my own triumphs, my own ability to overcome trying and difficult situations and not give up. Looking back in 2019, I would say the greatest thing I learned and the greatest gift I was received was how to truly forgive, just true forgiveness. And I'm definitely trying to apply that to the broader perspective and truly forgive the dysfunction that is reality. Like our current reality is very dysfunctional, and yet that reality is based upon my own perception. So I have to ultimately forgive it, to forgive myself, to allow the love and healing to alter this reality. And I think that that's why 2019 was such an awesome year, as brutal as of a year as it's been. What I've learned from 2019 has been just true, loving, kind, positive information. Hold on just a second. There you go. And, that is what it's all about. Really is, did you learn the lesson? Because I wouldn't want to have to repeat any of the lessons I received this year. I'm stoked. I took it and I went to school and I worked with people. It was a lot of work, man. It was a lot of work. And most people are like, think of work as going to a job. Like that's just what we have to do, and generating things. But the real work is an inside job. What do you do with yourself? Because you can definitely check out. You can check out and just, whistle through the graveyard. But does that really accomplish anything? So I think that people look for life to be super easy. And I don't want life to be difficult and confusing and hard, but I also realize now after this last year that it's okay. It's okay when it's difficult and hard and confusing because I have a spiritual center. Like I know that I'm not in charge, and and I've turned the wheels of the control of my life over to the care of God as I understand them. And I think that was the blessing of 2019, the year, to ignore it. What were we ignoring? I mean, I think a lot of it was ignoring the superficial and ignoring the surface level of what was going on in this reality, what was going on in my own personal space, and dig deeper into it and find out what really is going on. Because, the superficial stuff, it has shock value. I mean, that's why it's superficial. It's got sparkle and glitter and mayhem and chaos, and it sucks you in, and you're like, and you're all in it. But if you can ignore it and allow it to be occurring and get down to the deeper level, that's where you really get to find your true relationship with God, with yourself, with the people in your life. And, it's that thing is, you can't be forgiven until you can forgive, right? I mean, ultimately, God has forgiven us all for our deviant ways. But to truly get the forgiveness to work, you have to forgive it all yourself, and it goes to the same thing as you have to give the love you hope to receive, right? And the love you hope to receive is this forgiveness, because that is the most loving thing anyone can do for another human being, is to forgive them for being at their worst. And look, some people are psychopaths. Some people are beyond, you can forgive them, but you don't need to forgive them. They're just psychopaths. That's a different beast. What I'm talking about is people that are no different from you. They're full of mistakes and foibles and character defects, and I think up until this year I've struggled with my own character defects. I used alcohol and drugs for a long time, and then I got sober, but I'm still full of flaws. I can be very uptight, controlling. I can get very depressed. I have all these things that can happen in my life. And yet, if I want people to love me for who I am, I have to love them for who they are. And again, it's like the ignore it. I have to ignore the superficial level of myself, of people, and dig deep and go, okay, they are me and I am them. So do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I felt that that's what this year was about, was truly digging into myself and forgiving myself by forgiving other people in my life. It was a very hard year. My wife and I, we went through the ringer this year, and the beautiful thing is we came out on the other side. And I don't think that was happenstance. I think that was the divine course. But I also think that it was because of God, right? And taking serious the commitments that you make in front of God. That's why the watering down of marriage in our society is so dangerous. Because for me, when I took my vows of marriage, I took them in front of God. And so when I was tested about marriage, for better or worse, right? Well, for better is easy almost. For worse is what's worse. And I got to experience what that was. And I took a vow for better or worse. And the true thing is, that was the most beautiful experience I've had in my life, is being able to forgive through the worst. Does that make sense? That's what makes the better better. Now that yeah, I had to ignore the superficial and dig deep, man. I had to ignore it and dig deep. And I will say that getting on the other side of all this trauma, you know, with the house burning down, with the marriage and turmoil, with the separated homes, to be living back under one roof with our lizard and our cat and the 2 children and my wife, and just the tension gone. Like, we're better than we've ever been. But the only way we got to be better than we've ever been was by being worse than we could have been. You get what I'm saying? Like most people just quit when it gets difficult. And I would say that that's my thing, especially when you've entered, you know, this contract with God and your partner and your children, for better or worse, is you got to dig deep, man. You got to dig deep, and you got to ignore the superficial layers of it all and dig deep to what the real depth of it is on a soul level, on a God level, on a deep, deep personal and spiritual level. Because if you're willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater, man, you're going to have to repeat the lesson again. You know, I have a friend of mine who's just repeats the lesson over and over again in his life, and it's funny to watch it, because I don't really have any, I have empathy, but I don't have sympathy. I'm like, dude, you just keep making the same mistake over and over again, and it blows up in your face, because you don't want to dig deep on it and see that you are the orchestra, the conductor of your own orchestra. No, there's no victims in this reality, man. It's not what happens to you. It's what you do with that, right? I had a lot of bad stuff happen to me at the beginning of last year, but I didn't lay down and be a victim. Yeah, it hurt. I had to heal myself. And I would say, on just to kind of wrap this video up, because it's running a little long, is you have to heal yourself first before you can do this next thing, right? So you have to, again, ignore this bigger picture and go inward and go, all right, I'm a hurt human being. Something's happened to me. How do I begin to heal myself? I have to take responsibility for myself. I can't put that healing on anyone else. And what I've learned was, in order to heal myself, I had to give myself truly to God. I had to truly turn it all over to God and go, okay, God, help me heal. And people came through. My friend Melissa came through. My friend Matt came through. Lily came through. All sorts of YouTubers came through. You know, I was able over the last 2 years to really deal with my depression. I was able to deal with my own fears and face them head on. And the way I did that was I did ignore the base. I ignored all the feelings that came up in my face. And I was like, they're just feelings. Ignore them. Just ride it out. Don't do anything. Don't do any actions. Don't act on your feelings. Just heal yourself. Heal yourself. Stay in your place. Stay in your place. Stay where your feet are at. Don't project forward or backwards. Just stay right here. Stay right here where God is. God's right here, right now. And I ignored everything around me, man. And I just focused on being a dad. That's all I did. And you know what? I can look at my son now and be like, Pippi, I just given you a shout out right there, man. Pippi sent me the email, the ultimate email that launched the thing. And it was all about, how are you going to be able to look at your son if you don't do everything that you need to do to heal the world? And the only way I can heal the world is I got to heal my own heart first. I have to heal my relationship with God first. And then I can move to the next step, which is to heal the relationship with my wife, which heals the relationship with my stepdaughter, which heals the bond with our family, which gets our cat back, which makes our lizard stoked, which gets my parents coming over to my house to hang out with all of us on Christmas, and then it just trickles out, right? So I'm super grateful for a trying and difficult 2019. I'm super grateful I'm sick at the end of the year versus the beginning of the new year, right? It's an attitude of gratitude. And I'm grateful for the bad experiences too, because the bad experiences have made these new good experiences very rich. It's made me very focused on how lucky I am as a human being to be able to forgive, man, and be able to love. So I'm just killing time in front of the doctor's office, and I thought I'd share a little bit of space with you. I'm super grateful for all of you guys who watch, and gals and human beings and whatever you are who watch these videos, because it is an energy field, and we couldn't do it alone. You know what I mean? We need each other. Life is a team sport. So let's just take care of each other. Let's love one another. Let's do it the right way.